Hello my scholars, you are welcome to my school YouTube channel and my name is Frank. In today's video we shall be tackling JAMB CBT mathematics past question for the year 2024. So please do not get anywhere, stay with us and we'll be right back. You are welcome back to my school YouTube channel. In today's video, we shall be solving question 26 to 50. So let's kick off with question 26. Given that P is the set of all prime numbers between 0 and 10, and Q is the set of all odd numbers between 0 and 10, find the union of elements in P that are not in Q and the elements in Q that are not in P. So let's move over to the board to provide answer to this. So P is the set of prime numbers or prime numbers between 0 and 10. Okay, so the prime numbers between 0 and 10 are 2, 3, 5, 7. Remember that prime numbers has only two factors, 1 and themselves, right? While Q is the set of all numbers, okay, the set of all odd numbers between 0 and 10. Okay, and the odd numbers between 0 and 10 are 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. Okay, but in this question we actually asked to find the union of the elements in P that are not in Q and the elements in Q that are not in P. So if you check very well, the element in P, okay, that is not in Q is just 2. So this is our P and this is our Q. And if you look at our Q carefully, just note to there. Okay, now the element in Q that is not in P is 1 and 9. Now, if you look at P very well, you discover that in P, there's no 1 and there's no 9. But we are actually asked to find the union of these two new sets, right? So the union of this new set becomes 1, 2, and 9. Okay? So let's return back to the screen to pick the correct answer to this question. So from our calculation, we find out that the union of elements in P that are not in Q and the elements in Q that are not in P are 1, 2, and 9. So that makes option D the correct answer to this question. Question 27. In the diagram above, T represents the construction of angle A 15 degrees, B 30 degrees, C 45 degrees, and D 60 degrees. So to answer this question is just by simple inspection. Okay, but remember that when you bisect angle 60 degree, you are going to be having 30 degree. Right, so this is actually the T. Okay, so the diagram above actually represents the construction of angle 30. Okay, and that makes option B the correct answer to this question. Question 28. Convert the number 10111.11 in base 2 to a mixed fraction. So if you look at this question and look at the option provided, basically what they are trying to ask you in a sense is that you should convert this number in base 2 to base 10. Okay, so let's move over to the board to provide answer to this question. So to convert any number in base 2 to base 10, we use the successive multiplication method, right? So first of all, we are going to label here 0, label here 1, 2, 3, and 4. While from this side, after the decimal point, we have -1 and -2. Okay, so here we'll be having 1 times 2, which is the base raised to power 4, then plus 0 times 2 raised to power 3 plus 1 times 2 raised to power 2 plus 1 times 2 raised to power 1 plus 1 times 2 raised to power 0, okay, plus 1 times 2 raised to power -1 plus 1 times 2 raised to power -2. Okay, so here we are just having 1 multiplying throughout. So 2 raised to power 4 is actually 16. Okay, and this place here is already 0 because anything multiplied by 0 is 0, right? Then plus this will be equals to 4 because here we're having 1 times 2 raised to power 2 and 2 raised to power 2 is 4, right? Plus any number raised to power 1 is that number, so in this case we're having 2 here, then plus 1 times 2 raised to power 0. Now remember that any number raised to power 0 is 1 and 1 times 1 is 1. So here we're having plus. Here we are to apply the law of indices. Remember that when I have a negative index, right, it's going to be 1 over that number raised to the power of that number, right? So in this case, I'll be having 1 over 2 raised to power 1. Okay, so basically anything raised to power 1 still remains that number. Then plus 1 over 2 raised to power 2. So this is what I was trying to say earlier on, that if you have a negative index, right, it becomes 1 over 2 raised to power the index 2 here. Okay, so here if we add together, we'll be having 23, right? 16 plus 4 is 20, plus 2 is 22, plus 1 is 23. So you'll be having 23, then plus 1 over 2 plus 1 over 4. Okay, so 1 over 2 plus 1 over 4 is actually 3 over 4. So that at the end of the day, we'll be having 23 plus 3 over 4. So if we add it together, we'll be having 23 whole number 3 over 4. Okay, so let's return back to the screen to choose the correct answer to this question. Okay, so from our calculation, we got 23 whole number 3 over 4, and that makes option B the correct answer to this question. 23 whole number 3 over 4. Question 29. Subtract 14,256 in base 7 from 20,045 in base 7. So let's move over to the boards to provide answer to this question. So basically, what we are asked to do here is just to perform subtraction, but in base 7, right? So here we're having 5 minus 6. So 5 minus 6 cannot, so we borrow 1, right? Now, since we are working in base 7, any number that we borrow will be equals to 7. So if we borrow 1 from here, we'll have 3 left here. So that one is now 7, and we'll add it to 5. That will be equals to 12. So 12 minus 6 will be equals to 6. So let's still leave our base here. So here we now have 3 left, right? So 3 minus 5 cannot again. So we are expected to borrow 1. But we can't borrow from 0, we can't borrow from 2 0. So we are going to borrow from here. So if we borrow 1 from here, this place remains 1. Okay? Then we put it here. So here we have 7 now. But if we borrow 1 from here again, we are left with 6 here. So we borrow that 1 and add it to this 0, that becomes 7. So if you borrow 1 again from here, this place is remains 6. Then that one that we borrow, we add it to this 3, and that will make here 10. So 10 minus 5 will be equals to 5, right? While 6 minus 2 will be equals to 4. While 6 minus 4 will be equals to 2. Then 1 minus 1 will be equals to 0. Okay, so our answer is equals to 2,456 in base 7. Okay, so let's move to the screen to pick the correct answer to this question. So from our calculation, we got 2,456 in base 7, and that makes option B the correct answer to this question. Question 30. The average age of the 4 female teachers in a school is 40, and the average age of 8 male teachers in the school is 25. Calculate the average age of the teachers in the school. So in this sense, when they are talking average here, definitely they are talking about mean, right? But in some other sense, the average could mean mean, it could mean mode, it could mean median. So let's move over to the board to provide answer to this question. Now remember that average, which is mean in this sense, is equals to the summation of the total numbers divided by the number of the items, right? So here, first of all, we need to calculate for the total age, okay, of the 4 male teachers. So we are told that the average age of 4 male teachers is equals to 40. So for us to get or to calculate the total age of those 4 male teachers, what we simply do is that we multiply the number of the teachers by the average age, and that will give us 160. Then we do the same for the 8 male teachers, okay, and that will be equals to 8 times 25 is equals to 200, right? So now we can now calculate for the total age of teachers in the school. So total age of teachers in the school will be equal to the total age of all the teachers, which include the male and the female, divided by the number of teachers, right? So for this school, the number of teachers in this school, okay, is 12, right? So the total age of all the teachers in the school will be 160 plus 200, that will be equals to 360. And the total number of teachers in the school is equals to 12. So we divide here, okay? So 12 here is going to give us 1. 12 here is going to give us 3, okay? Then, and 0, that is 30, right? So let's return back to the school. So the average age of teachers in the school is equals to 30 years, okay? It's equals to 30 years since they are talking about age. So let's return back to the screen to pick the correct answer to this question, okay? And that is option D, 30. Question 31. How many proper and improper subsets are there in the set K? Okay, so the elements of the set K are A, B, C, D, and E, right? So to calculate or to find the number of proper and improper subsets in a given set, we simply make use of the formula 2 raised to power n, where n stands for the number of elements in that given set. So in the case of set K here in this question, the number of elements is equals to 5. So here we'll be having 2 raised to power 5, and 2 raised to power 5 is equals to 32, right? So if we go through the option, we have option C to be equals to 32. So that makes option C to be the correct answer to this question. Question 32. Differentiate cos 25 degrees minus sine 25 degrees. Right, so let's move over to the board to provide answer to this question. So we are asked to differentiate cos 25 degrees and minus sine 25 degrees. So if you look at this question very well, so when you are differentiating, you differentiate with respect to a given letter or something, right? But if you look at this question, there's nothing we are actually differentiating with respect to. Okay, whether with respect to x, whether with respect to theta, whether with respect to alpha, right? So normally this is supposed to be considered as the differentiation of a constant. And the differentiation of a constant is equals to 0. But if you look at the options that are given to us, you find out that values are given to us there. Okay, so if we differentiate cos, actually we are going to be having minus sine. Okay, so this our cos 25 becomes minus sine 25. And if we differentiate sine, we are going to be having cos, so that our sine 25 here becomes cos 25 degrees. Okay, so since we have minus we have minus and we also have minus, so we can factor out the minus, so that if we factor out minus, we'll be having sine 25 degrees plus cos 25 degrees. Okay, so let's return back to the screen to choose the correct answer to this question. So from our calculation, the correct answer to this question is option A, minus bracket open sine 25 degrees plus cos 25 degrees. Question 33. The mean of the elements 13, 16, x, 18, 21, 2s, 35 is 22. Find the value of s. So let's move over to the board to provide answer to this question. So we know that mean s bar is equals to summation x divided by n, right? But in this question, we have been given the mean of the values to be equals to 22. So here we'll be having 22 to be equals to 13 plus 16 plus x plus 18 plus 21 plus 2x plus 35 divided by the number of the elements that are given to us. Okay, so here they are equals to 7, and this is equals to, the whole thing here is equals to 22, which is the mean, right? So we simply cross multiply since we are looking for the value of x. So if we cross multiply, we're having 154 to be equals to, now if we add all these values together, we'll be having 103, then plus 3x. Okay, so we simply make 3s the subject of formula. So here we'll be having 3s to be equals to 154 minus 103. Okay, and that will be equals to 151, right? So since we are looking for x, we simply divide both sides by the coefficient of s, so that s is equals to 51 divided by 3, and that will be equals to 17. Okay, so the value of x is equals to 17. So let's return back to the screen to pick the correct answer to this question, and that is option B, 17. Question 34. Find the variance of a group of data whose standard deviation is 12.34 to the nearest whole number. So let's move over to the board to provide answer to this question. Now remember that standard deviation SD is equals to the square root of variance, right? But in this question, we are given standard deviation that we should find for variance, that we should find the value of variance. Now standard deviation given to us in the question is 12.34. Okay, and this will be equals to the square root of variance. So for us to get the value of variance, we simply square both sides. So variance V arrow will be equals to 12.34 square, right? Since we took the square root of both sides. The square of 12.34 will be equals to 152.2756, right? But in this question, we are asked to correct it to the nearest whole number, right? So to the nearest whole number will be equals to 152. Now remember that this number after the decimal point is not up to 5. So in that case, we are going to round it down to 0. So that at the end of the day, we'll be having 152 to the nearest whole number. So let's return back to the screen to pick the correct answer to this question. Okay, so from our calculation, our value was 152 to the nearest whole number, and that makes option C the correct answer to this question. Do you know you can take practice question with our JAMB simulated CBT past question? All you need to do is to click on the link in the description below, and that will lead you to my school website. There you will have to download my school mobile app for your Android devices and my school software for your laptops and computers. Please go ahead and start practicing. Moving on to question 35. Calculate the standard deviation of the following scores: 5, 4, 6, 7, and 8. So let's move over to the board to provide answer to this question. So we know that standard deviation is actually the square root of variance. So first of all, we'll calculate for the variance of these scores first, right? So to do that, first of all, we need to get our S bar, which is the mean. So here we're having 5 plus 4 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So if we add everything together here, we'll be having 30 divided by 5, and that is equals to 6. So we quickly prepare our table. So here will be x minus x bar, while here will be x minus s bar square, right? So we have our 5, we have our 4, we have our 6, we have our 7, we have our 8. So here we're having 5 minus 6, that equals to minus 1. So the square of minus 1 is equals to 1. Here we'll be having 4 minus 6, that will be equals to minus 2. And the square of minus 2 is equals to 4. Here we'll be having 6 minus 6, that will be equals to 0. Square of this will be of 0 is 0, right? So here we'll be having 7 minus 6, and here we'll be having 1. Square of 1 is 1. And here we'll be having 8 minus 6, and that will be equals to 2, and the square of 2 is actually the square of 2 is 4, right? So if we add everything together, we'll be having 10. Okay, so let's get our variance first. So variance is equals to our x minus s bar squared divided by n, right? So this will be equals to, now from our summation here, okay, we actually got 10, right? So here will be equals to 10 divided by 5, and that will be equals to 2, right? But we are looking for standard deviation, which is the square root of variance, right? So our standard deviation now will now be equals to the square root of the value of our variance, which is 2, right? So the standard deviation for this question is equals to root 2. So let's return back to the screen to pick the correct answer to this question, and that is option A, root 2. I believe you are enjoying this video content. If yes, please do not forget to hit the like button, click on the subscribe button, and lastly, tap on the notification bell to get informed as soon as we release the next videos. Question 36. From a class of 5 girls and 7 boys, a committee consisting of 2 girls and 3 boys is to be formed. How many ways can this be done? So let's simply move over to the board to provide answer to this question. So this is a question on combination, and it is very easy to do. So since out of the 5 girls, you are choosing 2 girls, so we'll be having 5 combination 2, then times, out of the 7 boys, we are choosing 3 boys, so we'll be having 7 combination 3, okay? So 5 combination 2, 5 combination 2 is equals to 5 factorial over 5 minus 2 factorial in brackets, then 2 factorial, okay? So this will be equals to 5 factorial over 3 factorial, 2 factorial, right? So 5 factorial is 5 times 4 times 3 factorial, okay? Since we have 3 under, so that they can cancel that, right? So we also have 3 factorial and 2 factorial. So 3 factorial, we cancel out 3 factorial here, and 2 factorial is the same thing as 2 times 1. So 2 here is 1, right? While 2 here will be equals to 2. So that at the end of the day, 5 combination 2 is equals to 10, okay? So let's do the same thing for 7 combination 3. 7 combination 3 will be 7 factorial over, in brackets, 7 minus 3 factorial and 3 factorial. So this will be equals to 7 factorial over 4 factorial, okay, and 3 factorial. So this will be equals to 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 factorial over 4 factorial and 3 factorial, right? So 4 factorial will cancel out 4 factorial here. But remember that 3 factorial is 3 times 2 times 1, which is equals to 6. So 3 factorial is equals to this. So that at the end of the day, we'll have 7 times 5 left, which is equals to 35, right? So if we combine these two, that will be equals to 10 times 35, and this will be equals to 350 ways. Okay, so this can be done in 350 ways. So let's return back to the screen to pick the correct answer to this question, and that is option A, 350 ways. Question 37. In how many ways can a committee of 5 be selected from a group of 7 males and 3 females if the committee must have 1 female? So in essence, what they're saying here is that you should only choose 1 female, because it said the committee must have 1 female. So in that 5-member committee, you should have 1 female, while the remaining should be male. Okay, so let's move over to the board to provide answer to this question. So the committee of 5, but out of those committee of 5 is selected from 7 male and 3 female. But they said the committee must have 1 female. Okay, the committee must have 1 female. So in that case, we are going to be selecting 1 female from the 3 females that are available. So we'll be having 3 combination 1, then times. So the remaining 4 members of the committee will be selected from the male. So that here we'll be having 7 combination 4. Okay, so we just do the same thing as we did in the previous question. So 3 combination 1 is equals to 3 factorial over 3 minus 1 factorial, then 1 factorial. Okay, so this will be equals to 3 times 2 factorial, right, over 2 factorial, 1 factorial. Okay, so 2 factorial will cancel out 2 factorial, so that at the end of the day, we have 3 left here, right? So let's do the same for 7 combination 4. So here we'll be having 7 factorial over, in brackets, 7 minus 4 factorial, then 4 factorial. So if we open this up, we'll be having 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 factorial, okay, over 3 factorial and 4 factorial. So 4 factorial, we cancel out 4 factorial. But remember that 3 factorial is 3 times 2 times 1, which is equals to 6. So this is our 3 factorial here. We'll take out 6 here. So that at the end of the day, we'll be having 7 times 5, which is equals to 35, right? So if we put this together, we'll be having 3 times 35, and that will be equals to 105 ways. Okay, so let's move over to the screen to pick the correct answer to this question. Okay, so and that is option A, 105 ways. Question 38. A bag contains 7 red and 4 black identical balls. 2 balls were picked at random from the bag and replaced each time. Find the probability the 2 balls were of the same color. So let's move over to the board to provide answer to this question. So in this question, we are told that we have 7 red balls and 4 black balls, of which both colors are identical. So in this case, total number of balls in the bag is equals to 11. Okay, but we are asked to find the probability that the 2 balls selected and replaced each time were of the same color. So probability of same color, okay, will be equals to maybe the 2 balls that you pick were red, okay, or they were black, okay. So in this case, we'll be having, for red, we'll be having 7 over 11 times 7 over 11, or in probability stand for plus, then plus the black balls, now that would be 4 over 11 times 4 over 11, right? So 7 times 7 is 49 over, then 11 times 11 is 121, then plus 4 times 4 is 16 all over 121, right? So LCM here is 121, so we simply add these two, and that will be equals to 49 plus 16, okay? So this is equals to 65 all over 121. So there's no number that can divide 65 and also divide 121 without remainder. Okay, so the probability that the 2 balls are of the same color is equals to 65 all over 121. So let's return back to the screen to pick the correct answer to this question, and that is option B, 65 over 121. Question 39. U varies directly as the square root of v. When u is equals to 24, v is equals to 9. Find the value of v when u is equals to 16. So let's move over to the board to provide answer to this question. So in this question, we are told that u varies directly as the square root of v, right? But we can't work with this, so we need to introduce a constant so that our u is now equals to k root v, right? So these first values that are given to us is so that we can find the value of k. So let's put them there and find the value of k. So our u is 24 and our k, what we are looking for, then root 9. Now remember that the square root of 9 is equals to 3. So that here we'll be having 24 is equals to 3k, right? So we'll make k the subject of formula by dividing both sides by 3. So that k is equals to 24 divided by 3, and that is equals to 8. Okay, so let's rewrite this equation, okay, putting the value of k. So we'll be having u to be equals to 8 then root v. Okay, so now they said we should find the value of v when u is equals to 16. Okay, so here we'll put 16 and we'll have our 8 then root v. So first thing first, let's divide both sides by 8. So if I divide 2 by 8, I'll be having 2 here. So that on my right hand side, I'll be having just root v, right? Now, since we are looking for the value of v, not root v, we simply take the square of both sides so that we can cancel out this square root, right? So if we take the square root of both sides, v will be equals to 2 raised. If we take the square of both sides, v will be equals to 2 raised to power 2, right? And 2 raised to power 2 is equals to 4. Okay, so the value of v is equals to 4. So let's return back to the screen to choose the correct option for this question, and that is option D, 4. Question 40. If b varies inversely as c raised to power 1 over 3 and c is equals to 27, when b is equals to 2, find the value of the constant of proportionality k. So let's return back to the board to provide answer to this question. So in this question, we are told that b varies inversely as c raised to power 1 over 3. Okay, so b will be inversely proportional to 1 over c raised to power 1 over 3. Okay, so we introduce our constant of proportionality, which is k. So b is now equals to k all over c raised to power 1 over 3. So we are asked to find the value of k. But in this question, we are told that b is equals to 2. So I put my 2 here, and we are told that c is equals to 27, right? So here we're having 27 raised to power 1 over 3. But don't forget that 27 raised to power 1 over 3 actually means the cube root of 27. Okay, and the cube root of 27 is equals to 3. So that 2 is equals to k all over 3, right? So if we cross multiply so that we can get the value of k, we'll be having k to be equals to 2 times 3, and that is equals to 6. Okay, so the value of the constant of proportionality for this question is equals to 6. So let's return back to the screen to pick the correct answer to this question, and that is option B, 6. Question 41. Find the root of x raised to power 3 minus 19x minus 30 is equals to 0. So let's move over to the board to provide answer to this question. So to solve this question, we have to use the idea of polynomial to solve this question, right? Of course, this is trinomial. Of course, trinomial is an example of polynomial anyway. First of all, what we are going to do, because it will be very difficult for us to factorize this, right? So what we are going to do is, first of all, to test value, right? And the values that we are going to test will be based on the factors of 30. Of course, the factors of 30 are 2, 3, 5, 10, 15, 31, etc., right? So we are going to test 2. Now, remember that the factor of this equation can never be 2, okay? So it could either be x plus 2, in this case, will be equals to 0, right, as one of the factor. So in this case, we are going to be finding the value of x from here, so that in this case, x will be equals to minus 2. So we'll now try. Now, if we substitute the value of x into this equation, and our answer is equals to 0, that means x plus 2 is a factor of this equation. Okay, so we have x raised to power 3 minus 19x minus 30 is equals to, okay, let's see if it equals to 0. So let's put in the value of minus 2. Okay, so you'll be having minus 2 raised to power 3, then minus 19. Okay, let's put it in bracket 19, then minus 2 in bracket, right? Then minus 30. So this will be equals to minus 8. Why? Minus times minus is going to give us plus first, and 19 times 2 is going to give us 38. Then here we'll be having minus 30, right? So if we add these two together, since we're having minus 8 minus 30, that will be equals to minus 38. And minus 38 plus 38, that will be equals to 0. So that means x plus 2 is a factor of this equation. Okay, so next we have to divide to get the other factors. So here we have x raised to power 3 minus 19x minus 30, right? Minus 30 divided by x plus 2. Okay, so in order to do this, since if you check this place very well, we don't have coefficient of s squared. Okay, so we are going to fill it up, right? So we are going to rewrite this to be equals to, so that in our calculation we will not make any mistake or miss any step, right? So here we are going to rewrite this equation and nothing changes. So we are going to rewrite this equation to be equals to s raised to power 3, then minus 0 raised to power s squared, okay, minus 19x, then minus 30, then divided by x plus 2. So if you check very well, nothing changed because 0 times s squared still remains 0. So meaning that this is not actually here, does not really exist, right? So let us divide now. So s will divide s raised to power 3, and that will give us s squared. So the next step is to use this s squared to multiply everything we have here and write it under what we have here under the radical sign. Okay, so s squared times s will give us s raised to power 3. Then s squared times plus 2 will give us plus 2s raised to power 2, right? Then the next step is for us to subtract. Okay, so let's subtract. So if we subtract, this we cancel out. And if we subtract, we'll be having minus 0 squared minus then plus 2s squared. So that will give us minus 2s squared, right? So we can bring this term down. So we bring minus 19 down. So we divide again. X divided by minus 2s squared, that will give us minus 2x. Okay, so minus 2x times x, that will give us minus 2s squared. Okay, then minus 2s times plus 2, that will give us minus 4s, right? So we subtract again. So here we'll be having minus 2x squared minus 2s squared. So this cancels out, right? While we'll be having minus 19x minus 4s. That will be equals to minus 15x. Okay, so we bring this minus 30 down, right? So we divide again. So x divided by minus 15x, right? That will be equals to minus 15. So minus 15 times s, that will give us minus 15x. So minus 15 times 2, that will give us minus 30. So let's subtract again. So if we subtract, remember minus 15s minus, the minus is going to change to plus. So this we cancel out. Then minus 30 minus, the minus plus again, and this goes out. So at the end of the day, we're having 0 here, right? So the factors now are now x plus 2 in bracket and s squared minus 2x minus 15 also in bracket. Now remember that everything here is equals to 0 since we are looking for the root of this equation, right? Root is the same thing as saying find the solution of the equation or find the values of x, okay, in the given equation. So now we need to factorize this. Okay, let me clean this side off. So we need to factorize what we have in the second bracket just to break it down further, right? So that is s squared minus 2x minus 15 is equals to 0. So if we factorize it, just for us to look for two factors of 15, that if we multiply together will give us minus 15, and if we add together should give us minus 2x, okay? And that is minus 5x plus 3. So we can rewrite this to be equal to x squared minus 5x then plus 3x, right? Because if I add these two, I'm going to be having minus 2x, then minus 15. So we can now factorize, put these two in bracket and put these two also in bracket. So what is common here is s. So bring that s out. So this will be x minus 5. So we'll leave our plus here. Then what is common here is 3. So we'll bring it out. And in the second bracket, we'll still be having 5x minus 5. All is equals to 0. So these two brackets, what we have inside are the same. So we just take one of it. So we'll be having x plus 3 in bracket and x minus 5 in bracket, then including the first factor, which is x plus 2 in bracket, all equals to 0. Now, since we are looking for the value of s, that means everything in each of these brackets is equals to 0. So s plus 3 is equals to 0, so that s will be equals to minus 3. Then for this, s will be equals to 5. And for this, s will be equals to minus 2, right? So if we arrange the factors very well, the values of x are minus 2, minus 3, and 5. So let's return back to the screen to pick the correct option to this question. Okay, so from our calculation, we got the value of x to be equals to minus 2, minus 3, and 5. And that makes option C the correct answer to this question. Question 42. If s is inversely proportional to y and s is equals to 9 when y is equals to 4, find the log connecting s and y. So another way that this question can be asked is find the equation connecting s and y, or find the relationship between x and y. Okay, they are still saying the same thing. So let's move over to the board to provide answer to this question. So for this question, we're told that s is inversely proportional to y, right? And we are asked to find the log connecting x and y. So we introduce our constant, so that we'll be having x to be equals to k over y, right? But our s is equals to 9, and the k we don't know, and our y is 4. So for us to get the value of k, we just cross multiply, so that k is equals to 9 times 4, and that is 36. Okay, so it's just for us to return back to this equation and fix the value of k there, so that we'll be having s to be equals to 36 all over y. Okay, so this is actually the law connecting x and y. So let's return back to the screen to pick the correct option to this question, and that is option B, 36 over y. Question 43. Given P to be equals to, okay, so P is a matrix, and these are the elements of the matrix 1, 2, 2, and 3, that we should find P squared minus 4P minus I, where I is the identity matrix. So let's move over to the board to provide answer to this question. So first of all, let's find P squared. So P squared will be equals to 1, 2, and 2, and 3. Then again, 1, 2, 2, and 3. So we are going to multiply out. So this is how we multiply this way, then comes this way. Okay, so if we multiply, we'll be having 1 times 1. Okay, so we'll be having 1 times 1, that will be equals to 1. Then plus 2 times 2, that will be equals to 4. So 1 plus 2, 1 plus 4, that will be equals to 5. So the first element here will be equals to 5. Then we can also look for the second element by multiplying this and this column. Okay, so you'll be having 1 times 2, that will be equals to 2, plus 2 times 3, that will be equals to 6, right? So 2 plus 6, that will be equals to 8. So here we have 8. Then we'll do the same thing here. So 2 times 1, that will be equals to 1. Then 3 times 2, that will be equals to 6. So we'll add it together, that will give us 8. Then we'll do the same for the last row. So here will be 2 times 2, that will be equals to 4. Then 3 times 3, that will be equals to 9. So if we add it together, that will be equals to 13, right? So I've gotten the value of P squared. Now let's get the value of 4P, okay, which is a scalar multiplication. So for 4P, we'll be having 4 times 1, 2, 2, and 3, right? So this will be equals to 4 times 1 is 4, okay? Then 4 times 2 is 8, okay? Then 4 times 2 again is 8, and 4 times 3 is 12. Okay, now remember that for an identity element, okay, the element of the leading diagonal are 1, while the element of the minor diagonals are 0. So for your identity element, we have 1, 0, and 0, 1. Okay, so let's bring these three together and get the value of p squared minus 4p minus I. So our p squared is 5, 8, 8, and 13 in brackets. Then for our minus 4p, which is 4, 8, 8, and 12. Then for our identity element, which is 1, 0, and 0, 1. So let's subtract and see what we are going to be having. So here we have 5 minus 4, 5 minus 4 minus 1. And that will be equals to 0. Okay, so the first element is equals to 0. Then let's move to the second element in the second column. So here we'll be having 8 minus 8 minus 0. And that will also be equals to 0. Then let's move to the second, the first element in the second row. Okay, so here we'll be having 8 minus 8 minus 0. Okay, 8 minus 8 minus 0, that is also 0. So here we have 13 minus 12 minus 1, and that is also 0. Okay, so the elements of p squared minus 4p minus the identity matrix is equals to 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, so let's return back to the screen to pick the correct answer to this question. So from all we got, it was 0, 0, 0, 0. And that makes option B the correct answer to this question. Question 44. If A is equals to matrix A has this element and B has this element, right? We are asked to find A, the transpose of A plus B. Okay, so where A raised to power T here, we are asked to find A raised to power T plus B, where T means transpose. So we are asked to find the transpose of matrix A plus B. Okay, so let's move over to the board to provide answer to this question. So first thing first is for us to find the transpose of T, right? So to transpose this matrix, it simply means that we should change the row into column or change the column into row. Okay, so in this case, we are going to change the row into column, right? So we'll be having 3, 2, 1, and 4, 2, minus 1. So this plus this, so we are going to add element B to it. So that we'll be having 1, 0, 3, 4, 1, and 2. So we are going to add this together. So the first element here will be added to the first element in the second matrix, just like that. So here we'll be having 3 plus 1, that will be equals to 4. Then 4 plus 4, that will be equals to 8. Okay, then 2 plus 0, that will be equals to 2. Then 2 plus 1, that will be equals to 3. Then 1 plus 3, that will be equals to 4. And minus 1 plus 2, that will be equals to 1. Okay, so let's return back to the screen to pick the correct answer to this question. Okay, and that is option A, and that is option D. Okay, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4, 1. If you have any question to ask, please feel free to ask your question by clicking on the link in the description below, and that will take you to my school website. There you can ask all your questions, and our team of solution providers will provide answers to all your questions within a short period of time. Moving on to question 45. If tan theta is equals to 8 over 15, simplify sin theta minus cos theta over sin squared theta minus sin theta. So let's move over to the board to provide answer to this. So to solve this question, we are going to assume that theta, okay, is between 0 and 90 degrees, right? It's between 0 and 90 degrees. So we are going to do this. We are going to draw a right angle triangle, okay? And we are going to call here our theta, right? Since we are given tan theta, and remember that tan is opposite over adjacent. So in this case, our opposite is 8, while our adjacent is 15. So we can simply look for the value of the hypotenuse, right? By using Pythagoras theorem. So according to Pythagoras theorem, the square of the hypotenuse is equals to the square of the opposite plus the square of the adjacent, right? So in this case, let's call the hypotenuse S. So in this case, we're having S squared to be equals to 8 squared plus 15 squared, right? So that s squared is equals to 64 plus 225. 46 plus 225, that will be 289, right? Now, since we are looking for s, which is the hypotenuse and not s squared, so we simply take the square root of both sides. So s will be equals to 17. Okay, the square root of 289 is equals to 17. So that means this part is 17, right? So sine theta is equals to opposite over hypotenuse. So our opposite is 8 and hypotenuse is 17, right? Then our cos theta is adjacent over hypotenuse. So in this case, we'll be having 15 over 17. So we can now substitute these values into the given fraction, right? So sine theta in that case will be 8 over 17 minus 15 over 17. Then this will be over, because this is for the denominator, this is for the numerator, sorry. So let's do the same for the denominator. So here we'll be having 8 over 17 all squared, right? Then minus 8 over 17. Okay, so let's simplify the numerator. So in this case, we'll be having minus 7 all over 17. While under, we'll be having 64 all over 289. Then minus 8 all over 17. Okay, so if we work on this, that will be equals to minus 72 all over 289. Now, this is for the value for the denominator. So let's return back our numerator, which is minus 7 all over 17. So 7 can cancel 7, right? So let's continue here. So that we'll be having 7 over 17, then times 289 all over 72. So 17 here is 1 and 17 here is going to give us 17. Okay, so 7 times 17, that will be equals to 119 all over 72. Okay, so let's return back to the screen to pick the correct answer to this question. Okay, and that is option B, 119 all over 72. Do you have better step or solution to any of these questions? If yes, please you can go to the comment section below and comment the question number and the solution that you wish to share. Question 46. A binary operation star is defined on a set of real numbers by s star y is equals to x raised to power y for all values of x and y. If s star 2 is equals to x, find the possible values of x. So let's return back to the board to provide answer to the question. So to answer question binary, basically what we do here is just simple substitution. So what they are showing us here is that our s is equals to s and our y is equals to 2, right? Anywhere I see x and y, I will replace it with s and 2 and say it's equals to x. Okay, so we are told that s star y is equals to s raised to power y, and we're also told again that s star 2 is equals to x. So anywhere I see y, I'll replace it with 2, and anywhere I see s, I'll replace it with 2 here. Okay, so that our s star y will be equals to s, right? But remember that our s still remains x, and our y now is now 2, and this will be equals to x, right? So we can rearrange this so that we can have a quadratic equation. So in this case, we'll be having s raised to power 2 minus s, and this will be equals to 0, right? So we can factor as x, so that we'll be having x minus 1 is equals to 0. So here we can say that s is equals to 0 or s is equals to 1, right? Because what we have in this bracket is equals to 0, and this s outside 2 in its own bracket is also equals to 0, right? So the possible value of s are 0 or 1. So let's return back to the screen to pick the correct answer to this question, and that is option C, 0 and 1. Question 47. The weights of 15 students in a class are given as 25, 30, 32, 30, 42, 45, 48, 50, 52, 51, 42, 38, 40, and 42. What is the mode of the given data? So the mode of the given data, of course, we know that mode is the number or the data that occur most. So if you check very well, the number that occur most in this given set of data is 42, right? So that makes 42 the mode of the given data. So option C is the correct answer to this question. Question 48. The number of 144 students who registered for mathematics, physics, and chemistry in an examination are shown in the Venn diagram. How many registered for physics and mathematics? So everything that you are seeing on the Venn diagram here represents only, right? So if we add all the values that are given to us in the Venn diagram, everything is going to be equal to 144. So let's move over to the board to provide answer to this question. So basically, what we are trying to find here is just the value of x. So if we add everything together that is given to us, that will be equal to 144. So let's simply collect like terms. So here we'll be having 42 plus 6 plus 34 plus 30. Okay, then we're having minus x plus 3x minus s plus 4x plus 2x. Okay, so 144 will be equals to 112, then plus 8x, okay, because minus s, we take out minus s, so 3x minus s, that will be equals to 2s, so 2s plus 4s plus 2s, that will be equals to 8s, right? So 8s will be equals to 144 minus 112, that will be equals to 32. Okay, so since we are looking for the value of s, we divide both sides by the coefficient of x, so that s is equals to 32 divided by 8, and that will be equals to 4. Okay, but in this question, we are asked to calculate the number of students that register for physics and mathematics. So if you look at this particular place, we have the number of students that register for physics and mathematics, but this 4s only represent only. Okay, so but we need the general number of students that registered for physics and mathematics. Whether they register for any other subject, it doesn't really matter, okay, because we just need the general number. So here we say have 2x. So this 2x here represent the number of students that register for the 3 subjects. So that also means that these 3 students that register for the 3 subjects, they as well register for physics and mathematics, right? So to get the number of students that register for physics and mathematics, that will be equals to 4x, okay, plus 2x, right? So in this case, we'll be having, since we calculated our s to be equals to 4, we'll be having 4 times 4 plus 2 times 4. So if we add this together, this will be equals to 16. Then if we multiply this together, that will be equals to 16. Then plus, if we multiply this together, that will be equals to 8. So that if we sum 16 and 8, we'll be having 24. Okay, so the number of students that registered for both physics and mathematics, or that registered for physics and mathematics, is equals to 24. Okay, and that makes option B the correct answer to this question. Question 49. Make Q the subject of the relation T is equals to square root of P square over arrow minus arrow square Q, all in brackets. So let's move over to the board to provide answer to this question. So basically they are asking us in this question to make Q the subject of formula. So to do that, first of all, we have to take the square of both sides. Okay, so if we take the square of both sides, we're having T square to be equals to PQ over arrow minus arrow square Q, right? So let's deal with this side first. So we'll be having T square to be equals to PQ over arrow, then minus arrow square Q over 1. So that the LCM of arrow and 1 is arrow, right? So that here we're having P square minus arrow raised to the power 3Q. Of course, if I divide 1 divided by arrow, still arrow times arrow square Q, that will give us arrow cube Q, right? So our T square is equals to PQ minus arrow cube Q, right? All over arrow. So we cross multiply. So that will be having arrow T square to be equals to PQ minus arrow cube Q, right? So if you look at these two terms carefully, discover that P is common, Q is common, sorry. So we can factor out Q. So that Q comes out, we'll be having P minus arrow raised to the power 3 in bracket, right? So that we'll be having arrow t square is equals to q bracket open p minus arrow raised to power 3, right? Since we are looking for the value of q, we divide both sides by the coefficient of q, which is what is in the bracket, right? So that our q is equals to arrow t square all over p minus arrow raised to power 3, okay? So we have succeeded in making q the subject of the relation. Okay, so let's return back to the screen to pick the correct answer to this question. That is option A. Q is equals to arrow t square over p minus arrow raised to power 3. Question 50. Root a plus root 8a in bracket square is equals to 54 plus b root 2. A and b are positive integers. Find the value of a and the value of b. So let's move over to the board to provide answer to this question. So root a plus root 8a in bracket square means root a plus root 8a in bracket, then root a plus root 8a in bracket. Okay, so what we are going to do is just to expand this side, then we now equate corresponding equate the corresponding side. Okay, so root a times root a, that will give us a, then plus root a times root 8a, that will give us root a times root 8a. Okay, then root 8a times root a, that will give us another root a. Okay, that will give us root a, then root 8a, right? Then root 8a times root 8a, that will give us plus 8a, right? So if you check very well, we are having 2 root 8a, right? So a plus 2, then we have bracket root a times root 8a. Okay, since we are having 2 of it, then plus 8a, right? So 8a plus 8a, that will give us 9a. Right, then plus 2, then bracket open. Now let's times this place. Now this place we're having root a. Okay, we're having root a. So here root a times root 8a, we are going to be having root 8a square. Okay, we are going to be having root a square. But remember that this root 8a square is the same thing as saying root 8 times root a square, right? So root a square will be equals to a. Why this? We can solve it in short form to give us 2 root 2, right? Okay, so here we're having 9a plus 2 in bracket, then we have 2 root 2, then a, right? Now remember that everything is equals to 54 plus b root 2. Okay, so here 9a plus, so 2 with times will give us 4 root 2a, and this is equals to 54 plus b root 2. So we can now equate corresponding coefficients. So our 9a corresponds to 59 on our right hand side, right? So that from there we can get the value of a. So that 9a is equals to 54, right? So a will now be equals to 54 divided by 9, and that will be equals to 6. Okay, now our 4 root 2a also corresponds, okay, our 4 root 2a also corresponds to b root 2, right? So in this case, our 4a corresponds to b. So our 4a corresponds to b, so that our 4a is equals to b, right? Now, but remember that our a is equals to 6, right? So in place of a, we replace it with 6 so that we can get the value of b, so that our b is equals to 4 times 6, and that will be equals to 24. Okay, so the value of a is equals to 6, and that of b is equals to 24. Okay, so let's return back to the screen to pick the correct answer to this question. So, and that would be option C, because a is equals to 6 and b is equals to 24 from our calculation. So that makes option C the correct answer to this question. I believe you enjoyed this video content. If yes, please do not forget to hit the like button, click on the subscribe button, and lastly, put on the notification bell to get informed as soon as we release the next videos.